Take a look at the front tires. Again,
let's wonder.
look at these, make sure everything's good. I'll come around the front. Right turn, left turn, four ways. I'm going to be looking at your marker lights because you got your marker lights on, high beams and low beams. Windshield wipers, get this guys, and washers. If your windshield washers don't work, it's a violation. But this is, yeah, you know how much I like that.
So cracks and stuff in the window.
Okay, cracks and stuff in the window. If it's one continual crack and it's low enough, it's going to be okay. If it's one crack intersected by another crack, it's going to be a violation. Or if it's a star that can't be contained in a quarter. I have such a tool, but it's about a quarter. If you can take a quarter size and stick it over top of the stone chip, or if that stone chip has a crack coming out of it, it's a violation. And the windshield wiper pistons need to work. Again, I'll go to the driver's side. I'll say fire extinguishers, road triangles, road flares. We're not going to visit that truck. You should know where they are. You should know how to use them, and that they're secure. Fire extinguisher. If the fire extinguisher is in the bumper, it needs to be secured. It's material of trade. It needs to be secured. Whether it's in a box, a crate, if you have something that is secured and nothing can get to it, you're going to be okay. But if it's just rolling around back there anywhere, it needs to be secured. I'm going to take a look on the inside. If I have concern, I can get inside. I can even get inside sleeper berths. You guys don't deal with sleeper berths, but there is requirements for sleeper berths, and I can measure the mattress. Okay? We need to make sure that these guys that use the sleeper berth are getting adequate rest. And that's where all that comes from, safety being rested going down the road. I'm going to take a look at the seatbelt system. If it doesn't look like it works, I'm going to try it. Believe it or not, I had one 6 months ago that was using a ratchet strap for a seatbelt. 4-inch wide. I was going to take a picture. I didn't have my camera. 4-inch wide. He screwed a hole in the top, and he had it hooked to the bottom of the seat, and he ratcheted it up. I was like, you got to kid. I said, that must ride real good going down the road. He's a big guy, too. He said, what's wrong with the seatbelt? Doesn't work. I use this. No. Violation. I'm going to take a look inside the cab, make sure you don't have stuff rolling around inside the cab that's going to impede your foot stuff. You can have some stuff in there, but it can't be impeding your basic control of the vehicle. Take a look at that. Lunch pail, stuff like that, it's not going to bother you. If you have a lot of stuff in there that's going to be flying around and stuff, then we have a problem. Take a look at the wheels, make sure the wheels on there tight. If you've got some of the older trucks, some of them get really loose. That's going to be it. I'm going to have you hop out, open the hood. Do we open the hood?
Yes, unlocked.
He can open the hood because I get crushed.
You don't want to hurt the DOT guys.
Yes, that's it. Then it makes me mad.
That's right.
Yeah. All this up basically is this two. So if these two are broke, and of course I don't know it, that's why I have the driver do everything. Because I got in trouble once, but I had the driver do everything. You guys on the other side, I'm going to take a look underneath. Okay, I'm looking for fuel leaks. I'm going to take a look at the air hoses, make sure they're not chafed. On an air hose, it cannot be touching basically anything. Okay, if it's touching a piece of metal or something that is rubbing, that's chafing, that's a violation. All these hoses are rubber hoses usually, and they have crisscross pattern for the first reinforcement. If one of those crisscross patterns are broke, that's the outer reinforcement, that's an out of service. Okay, if they're just rubbing on something, anywhere, it's just a violation. Take a look at the brake chambers, make sure they're the same size. A lot of you guys are running hydraulic brakes, we'll get to those in a sec. Make sure they're the same size, they have to be the same size diameter on the front axle, or else it's an out of service. I'm going to yell step on the brake, you're going to step on the brake and the rod's going to come out, I'm going to measure it, I'm going to say release, the rod's going to go back, I'm going to measure it. I'm going to put that out on my paper. There are specific requirements for out-of-service adjustment on slack adjusters. You guys running a lot of slack adjusters or no? Not a lot of slack adjusters? Automatic slack adjusters. They're automatic. Do not touch them. It's just like an automatic transmission. Do you shift it manually every single day? Hell no. If the automatic doesn't work, is there something wrong with it? Yup. It's automatic for a reason. If it goes out of adjustment maybe once and you adjust it just to make sure it's not a freak thing, that's okay. But if you got to adjust it every day, fix the problem. Don't just keep adjusting it. And even if it's not out of adjustment, don't adjust them every single day because there's little teeth in there. And if you adjust them every day, you wear the teeth off. And once you wear the teeth off, then it's not going to automatically adjust. And if Joe drives this truck for 4 years and he adjusts them every single day and he gets sick and Johnny hops in it, it's got automatic slacks on it. I'm going down the road. He didn't adjust it because they're not adjusting automatically anymore. If they're automatic, leave them alone. They should adjust on their own. That's why they call them automatics. Take a look at the spring pack, make sure there's not any cracked, broken leaf springs. Main leaf goes from saddle to saddle. If there's any cracks in the main leaf, it's an out of service. And the rest of the pack, if there's a crack in one, it's a violation. If it's separated, i.e. if I could get my screwdriver in there and I could see a crack on one side of the leaf spring and on the other, it's going to be separated. It could fall out. I'm going to put you out of service for that. And you're not fixing that roadside probably. Yes, sir.
Do you guys ever even check the U-bolts? That's what I folks. That's
Yep.
Check all these trucks like half the U-bolts and you can hear the difference.
Yeah, yep. Most of the time, you can see, especially on your older vehicles, the rust, where it slides back and forth. A lot of times you get a rust trail on a lug nut or something, you'll know it's loose or it was loose. But yeah, we'll take a look at those U-bolts. Sometimes we'll tap them. Normally on the front axle, we'll just have you turn the wheel all the way left, all the way right, and you can see the axle shift. If the axle shifts or if the U-bolt's loose, it's an out of service. Okay, we're done with the front axle. We checked the brakes. We checked all of that stuff underneath. Checked for the oil leaks. Oil leaks. It's kind of tough. I mean, the inspection takes half an hour. If you have a puddle on the ground this big, I'm going to write you up as a violation for an oil leak. If it's running out the road draft tube, have a nice day. But if it's leaking from any place else and you got a puddle on the ground, there's something wrong that needs to be fixed. That's when I write that violation. If it's just a little bit wet and it's not dripping, I'll just tell the driver, hey, it's leaking, it's not dripping on the ground. Okay. Slide back further, transmission is really nothing as long as it's not leaking. Check the frame rails, make sure they're not cracked, make sure somebody didn't add something, drill holes, weld onto them when it wasn't supposed to be. Slide underneath, check the rear hoses, make sure that they're not abraded or cut through the outer reinforcements. Check the rear brake adjustments, step on the brake, release. I'm going to write that down. Check the brake cans. On these vehicles, they have air canisters. I'll have you put the parking brake on. If you put the parking brake on and you hit the brake can and it goes rattle, 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 the parking brake spring inside is busted. And that goes towards your out of service. You have to have 20% to put you out of service for this defective brake. Because when the parking brake springs are busted, usually one coil will break off them. If something happens and you go down the road and you need to use your parking brake, you're not going to have it. Because before you had 2,000 psi of pressure, now you only got 500. Because the springs are broken and they're rattling around in there. Take a look at that. I'll squeak out the back. And again, come back to the front. I'll say, low-air warning. Turn the key on. You should have an audible and a visual. If you have neither, it's an out of service. Okay? If you have let me get this right now. If you have a audible, it's a violation. Because you can drive deaf, but you can't drive blind. That's what they told us. Okay? So if you have a visual, it's not going to be a violation at all, but if you don't have the audible and it's required, it's going to be a violation. I'm going to check that, make sure that works. If you have a truck-trailer combination, or if you have a pickup truck with a trailer on the back, I am then going to go after the trailer. 75% of the out of service on a hydraulic brake trailer is the breakaway is either not hooked to the towing vehicle or the damn thing doesn't work because the battery's dead or disconnected or broken. If you have a hydraulic trailer and it has a battery on it, that's the only way that those brakes in the trailer get put on when that breakaway goes off, is the battery. Because now you lost your trailer, it's driving down the road at 60 miles an hour, you need to have power to put those brakes on because it's a hydraulic brake or electric brake vehicle. The only way that that battery gets charged is if, one, you charge it with a battery charger, or if it's put to the vehicle and the vehicle's running.